Hey guys, welcome back to the Jersey Comic Crew. On today's episode, we are breaking down Venom 200. The big issue is finally here. Come on inside.
What's up, everybody? We are the Jersey Comic Crew, and on today's episode, Chris and I are going to be doing a deep dive breakdown of Venom issue 200. This is the finale issue for the current run of Venom, done by the great Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman. Now, guys, me and Chris are big fans of Venom as a character, and specifically of this run, so we wanted to give you a deep dive of what exactly happened in this run. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the crazy ride that is Venom 200.
We open with a window into Eddie's mind as he's reminiscing through all of his past challenges. Numerous entanglements with Spider-Man, fighting symbiote dragons, defeating a nullified Carnage, learning that he has a son, Dylan, dying being reborn, and most recently defeating Knull, the god of symbiotes. But now with the King in Black defeated, someone has to lead the symbiotes throughout the galaxy.
That's right, and that somebody is Eddie Brock. Eddie, in his triumph over Knull, has gained his powers. He can now telepathically connect his symbiotes all over the universe. He can have conversations with any symbiote anywhere. He uses the abilities to help alien races from foreign attacks, while at the same time meeting with the Avengers in New York City. He is now the symbiote god.
There are drawbacks, however. Eddie is plugged into a symbiote spire most of the time, and he's kind of plugged in like a supercomputer. While he's plugged in, he's not very aware of time or things going on around him. It's similar to being in a manic state in a way. That isn't the only issue, too. Being the leader of a massive hive mind has aged Eddie drastically. He's gray, he needs a cane to walk now, and he's gone from this physical brute Venom that we know and love to kind of this mental telepath of sorts.
Being a god also puts a damper on his personal relationships. Dylan is also feeling the effect of his father's ascension to godhood. Eddie is barely a dad anymore because he is jacked into the spire so much. Dylan is now a teenager in high school who gets to walk to school by the Venom symbiote, which is a pit bull, which I love, and he also fights during school because of all of his anger issues.
And as Eddie asks him why he didn't mention anything before, Dylan said he tried, but Eddie was unresponsive in the spire. Sleeper, the Venom offspring symbiote, is in the form of a cat most of the time. He tells Eddie that Spider-Man is called like 10 times for him, and Dylan leaves for school with Venom in the form of a dog, as Rob said before.
As Dylan walks to school with the Venom symbiote, he asks the symbiote what to call him, because when he's combined with his father, he's Venom. But without it, what is his name? The symbiote tells him that his name on his planet is more of a noise than an English word. It's hard to interpret. Dylan then asks him to telepathically communicate with him so he can learn his name. This brings a tear to Dylan's eye, saying that he really needed that, almost as if this was the only human connection he has had in a long time.
Eddie goes to meet up with Spider-Man for lunch, similar to when they had lunch back in Absolute Carnage. Peter and Eddie are talking, and it's clear that Eddie is omnipresent and really intellectually heightened right now.
Peter begins to apologize for everything that has ever happened to Eddie and Dylan because of him. He blames himself for all of this due to him being the one who originally brought the Venom symbiote to Earth back in the original Secret Wars comic.
Eddie explains that the symbiote was here during Vietnam with Rex, and that it isn't Peter's fault. Spidey, hearing this for the first time, is surprised and relieved as Eddie's eyes glow because he's simultaneously also meeting with the Avengers at the same time.
Eddie still finds the time to stop a quick robbery with his symbiote cane, and then he heads back home thanking Spider-Man for the lovely lunch. He changes into a cauldron of bats and flies off, leaving Spidey mesmerized at Eddie's cool new powers. We now get to see the other side of the meeting Eddie had with the Avengers while he was having lunch with Spider-Man. He's explaining that even though he can see across worlds of realities, he still can't find the Maker.
The Maker, an evil Reed Richards from an alternate universe. During Venom's adventures, the Maker was someone Eddie couldn't defeat. The last thing that Eddie knew was that the Maker ended up in the destroyed Ultimate Universe. Eddie believes that he is coming back. He's working for an organization called the Council of Reeds, different Reed Richards from across parallel universes that have a common goal of domination.
Now, Eddie isn't just telling the Avengers about this lingering threat. He is also telling Silver Surfer in space, the Guardians of the Galaxy, and even the mutants on Krakoa. This really builds the looming threat that the Maker is, and his unknown plans. Even after defeating Knull, Eddie seems very on edge about this, even with his new godhood powers.
So after Eddie explains the Maker situation, Captain America tells him that the offer still stands for him to join the Avengers. Eddie respectfully declines because his mind is being used all over the place and he can't really commit to just being an Avenger right now. He does tell Cap, however, that there is someone who he has in mind for the job.
We assume that person is Flash Thompson because that's where the comic takes us next. Flash Thompson is alive. He doesn't know how or why, but he is alive. His legs are back and he's able to walk, and he's still the anti-Venom.
Flash goes to a coffee shop, just trying to get a cup of coffee. He orders a little coffee that the barista complicates into ridiculous phrases, and a woman notices him. She begins talking to Flash, and instantly the cafe turns chaotic as the barista's head gets blown off.
Flash, thinking that the enemies are here for him, instantly starts taking out these green armored soldiers. The soldiers begin to beg for mercy as they tell Flash that they've already got their target, and he is not their target. They state that the symbiotes are everywhere since Knull has evaded New York.
The alien soldiers compare them to an infestation of sorts. Flash turns back to the barista, whose head has now grown back, and runs away in the chaos. Flash looks around and realizes that everyone is now looking at him scared as well, as if he's some type of alien invader and not there to help and protect.
Speaking of scary moments, we go back to high school. We see Dylan at Midtown High. He is clearly lost and trying to figure out who he is while longing for his old powers that were taken away after the defeat of Knull.
Dylan has a run-in with the school bully, Kenny McFarlane Jr., in a similar situation to when Peter Parker would get bullied by Flash Thompson in high school. Dylan pictures the rage and absolute beatdown that he could inflict on him, but the fear of his pent-up aggression stops him from fighting back. Kenny punches Dylan, and Dylan ends up in trouble in the principal's office.
At the principal's office, Dylan makes a case saying how is he always in trouble when he's the victim, he's the one that got attacked. Dylan's principal is concerned with him, asks if everything was okay at home. He's worried because this is his 6th visit to the office now, and he's only been at the school for a couple of months. He continues to ask Dylan about his anger issues and why he keeps on fighting. Dylan just looks down and repeats his father's famous line, "I've been fighting my whole life."
After school, Dylan is just walking around in the rain with dog venom. He hears screams from an alleyway and runs to help. He sees old C-list villain Jack-o'-lantern mugging an old lady as Dylan nervously says to let her go. Jack points a gun at Dylan and Venom Dog jumps in front of him.
As the Venom Pitbull attacks, Jack shoots. The bullet goes through the symbiote and hits Dylan square in the chest. As Dylan lays on the ground, having trouble breathing, the Venom symbiote is trying to figure out how he can help, but he doesn't know what to do. C-list villain Jack-o'-lantern starts to freak out, says he never plans on killing a kid, and then realizes that the kid was Eddie Brock's son. Venom combines with Dylan in order to save his life. They stand up and scream, "We are Venom."
He goes home, and Eddie, of course, already knows what's happened, saying that, man, that didn't take long. Eddie says it's okay and realizes how angry Dylan has felt without his powers, and he's been trying to figure his life out ever since. Eddie says that there's no safer place for his son than with the Venom symbiote. Dylan doesn't really know if he can do this yet, and he's literally standing next to his father, who is now the symbiote god. Eddie assures him that they will all do this together, as Dylan suits up in his new Venom suit with chains instead of webs. Dylan swings off as a new era of the Venom mythos begins.
And with every new beginning, there must be an ending. And this is the ending of the Venom run by the great Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us and learning a little bit more about the Venom world. If you like this kind of content, please let us know down in the comments below. We would love to make more for you.
And guys, thanks so much. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up, like. It really helps the channel out a lot. If you're brand new, subscribe and turn on those notifications, especially you don't want to miss content like this where we break down comic books. We're going to do this a lot more. Check us out on our Instagram and Twitter at Jersey Comic Crew. And as always, I'm Chris Heller. That's Rob Moran. We are the Jersey Comic Crew, and we'll see you next time.